Welcome to the Dynasty Podcast. We are up and running. The most efficient starting we've ever had to the podcast in 2025. We have had no
Like your
technical
tongue, Corey,
difficulties.
you bite it.
Knock on some wood. Knock on some wood. We're pretty excited about that. So, yeah, we are going to talk about the top 12 power rankings that we spent a ton of time going through and ranking everybody in all the divisions, which was a fun exercise. Pretty excited about seeing who we think are going to be the playoff contenders and how much their teams have changed since we first started this process, which includes free agency. No, not free agency. What does it include, Ben, as far as the changes?
Training
Training
camp,
camp news, injuries.
in league trades too. There's a bunch of trades that were made. Some of the
Yeah,
trades
and I think just
we'll get into, but like definitely flipped like one team to be much more in a contending area than it was, and then some teams are starting to do that rebuild, right?
Yeah, and I think also just some of the free agent news that happened with some signings and also some surprise cuts off of draft picks, I think maybe have impacted some people, even some early kind of tweaked injuries where people maybe not as high up on the depth chart or the Brian Robinson trade, for example. There's been
Yeah.
a lot of action since we first started this process. So we will get into all of that. Ben has done his due diligence and has semi re-ranked the teams. I'll just be kind of reviewing those on the spot and talking a little bit about what Ben has done the research on and how that has impacted some of the teams. But before we get there, I think it's no better time to discuss opening week and opening football and the Monday night football game between your beloved Vikings and my beloved Bears. So I
Love
think the
it today
Vikings are
by both of
favored.
us. It doesn't happen often that we
Fav-
both love our team. It's usually
yeah,
preseason.
this might be the last week. Might be the last week of loving the Bears. Uh, I think the Vikings are favored by a point and a half on the road, which it started off as the Bears were favored by 2.5, which
To go
kind of
back to close
concerns
to a
me.
pick 'em, I just don't see why we're favored.
Well, I think it might have to do with the Jalen Johnson news slightly, maybe the Thielen silent signing, but that was all
I
done
saw you're
before the
also
line.
starting. Are you starting your same left tackle from last year? Like the guy you got didn't work out or is hurt?
Braxton Jones.
I
Yeah,
know our
I mean,
defensive line was pretty good against them, but I just like Ben Johnson's 4-0 against us. Like Ben Johnson, he knows how to solve triangles, but I'm super intrigued by it because I think we got Jonathan Allen and Hargrave specifically for this type of offensive threat scheme, right? Like in theory, it was for the Lions, but it's more for Ben Johnson and McVay, who both absolutely annihilated our triangles defense both times. Because what happens is if you gamble and start bringing a lot of players with regularity against these guys, they just know where to attack you. And if you can't get pressure
yep.
with four, then your playmakers can't make plays. There's just too many gaps. So like there's not a lot of offensive minds who can just outsmart Brian Flores. But last year, the Rams and the Lions did it twice, and nobody else actually did it. It was just those teams. We lost two teams a total of 4 times, and for the same reason. So like I think Ben Johnson is smart, and we'll see. Like again, being able to do that where Jared Goff has been very like in tune with that offense might be a little different than where we're at as teams now. Like I think our defense is definitely our focal strong point.
Yeah, I think that video that you sent over talking about the matchup, the coaching matchup between Ben Johnson and Flores was super interesting. It really talked about how he has utilized trip sets and 12 personnel, kind of spreading out the front three and then having a back like Gibbs be able to exploit some of those lanes. And it all came down to basically safeties making tackles in tough spots or linebackers making tough reads to close those gaps. So the big difference is DeAndre Swift isn't Jahmyr Gibbs. And I think that's probably a big deciding factor in this game and in Ben Johnson's offense is if we can run the football successfully on first down and keep them off balance, and then opens up play action and gives Caleb obviously a lot more time to operate and pick his battles. But it's going to come down to a couple big plays here and there. In my opinion, I think it's, as a Bears fan, I'm glad that we're getting him week one. I'm glad we get him without Addison. Whether or not we have Jalen Johnson or not, I think is a big deal. But it's kind of the matchup you want to see where you're at. It's like nobody has us, I don't think, finishing 1 or 2 in the division, or not very many people. So it's a big game for both of our teams.
I think we're last almost in everything I've ever seen, especially since that Michael Parsons trade. I've seen the Vikings last everywhere.
Yeah.
Some people are like hedging and picking 3 of our 3 teams to make the playoffs, but
and let's be honest, I think your team really comes down to McCarthy and like how he shows out and manages the offense and what he looks like. I mean, it's a tough spot. It's not Archie Manning tough in his first game, but
I think it's not. I don't think that's it at all. Because McCarthy can just be a game manager and we could beat everyone if we're healthier than everyone. I think the healthiest team in this division is going to win it. Like, I think everyone's too good. Like, if a team has very good injury luck and other teams don't, it's going to make the.
So
big
you
difference.
don't think that McCarthy has any weight on whether the Vikings are successful? If he's just an average to below average quarterback, but doesn't,
if he's a below average quarterback, our defense will win us 8 games.
Okay.
Period. Like,
all right.
I mean, like, we'll run the ball enough. He can throw inaccurate passes to Justin Jefferson like Josh Dobbs and Nick Mullins did, and we'll still win games. Like, it's been proven.
Yeah.
Like, he would have to be, without a shadow of a doubt, the bottom 3 quarterbacks in the NFL. Of what you're talking about. Like, where you're like, oh, is it going to be bad? That's how absolutely bad he would have to be. Or there would be like one of those years where a team has like 15 fumbles with 14 lost, and like a lot of weird tip plays. Like, there's bad luck plays on turnovers too. We've seen like teams get crazy unlucky throughout their year and lose like super marginal games from that. I don't think the rest of the league is good enough to go against this division.
Interesting.
I just don't.
I mean, on another point, like, I'd like to see Caleb have a dominant performance, but I don't think we need to do it either. I think if he's 18 for 25 or 26 and throws for 225 yards, 30 yards rushing or 25 to 30 yards rushing, doesn't turn the ball over or take bad snaps when they're in field goal range on third down, and we get points out of it, it's more, to me, kind of very similar for the opening day. Like, and I think he's able to do that. But it's going to be dealing with the pressure off the ends.
If he processes, Ben Johnson's game plan is going to be 1-2 out, 1-2 out, 1-2 out. His percentage numbers when he does that are very good. He's been good in the NFL. When he makes a 1-2 decision, he's been very good. It's when he goes 3 seconds or more when he completely derails, because he goes off script. He gets skittish. He's like trauma from battle lines, and like, so if Ben Johnson, I believe that what McCarthy does in this game is way less important than what Caleb does.
I agree.
Like, I think Caleb has more of a chance of derailing this game than McCarthy does for us, because we're already like really prepared to manage him. And maybe Ben Johnson's gonna like try and manage Caleb out the gate, but I don't think so. I think he's been really grinding him to get him prepared to get that processing power up faster, which is like what he needs. That's when he's really good. And if he does, then all this I'm telling you, if like he figures out how to get Caleb processing fast and they run a quick offense and there's many options and he makes smart decisions and just ditches it when it's bad, right? Or takes off, to your point, then the Bears are competing for the division and like no like there's no cakewalk, like it's going to be a real problem. If he has a hard time processing again this year, or takes too much time, or doesn't make the right decision fast enough, then that's when you're going to have some uh-oh moments. But I see what Ben Johnson does well. I saw the statistics of when Caleb was a great quarterback and when he was successful, and they aligned. So let's see what
Yeah, I
happens.
think
They might.
from what
I've said it before. You guys might take time to integrate that offense because it's not Caleb. It's everyone. The system's new. Everyone's new. The Vikings are running the same thing, and actually it's the same thing McCarthy ran in training camp last year, right? And just didn't play. It's the same thing Adam Thielen ran 2 years ago. Like, there's all similarity in what we're doing. So the real fear is execution on our end with McCarthy, and I'm telling you, he has to be like Arch Manning bad for it to go really bad, right? Otherwise, it's just going to be a real slugfest between both teams, I think. If he
yeah,
plays great or if he doesn't, I think Ben Johnson's a good counter. If he's up, he's down, he knows how to like stay in games offensively.
yeah,
So I think we should expect it to be a good game. Like, honestly, very good game.
yeah. From everything that I've read, it was in training camp. It was an overload of a lot of different things to see how much he could handle, and then there's going to be a reduction into kind of what you're talking about. You know, here's your reads: 1, 2, get the ball out. Don't take bad sacks. Don't put us in negative situations. There's going to be a couple plays where you're going to have to get us out of a bad situation. But other than that, he's expected to deliver the ball to these points in the plays that are available to him, and he doesn't have a lot of thinking to do. And I think that will give him confidence as the season goes on, and then there will be more of a load and more of a opportunities for them to expand what they're doing. But I like it. I like that he's being coached hard. I think that's what he wants. I like that they're going to simplify things to a point where it's going to be a lot, and a lot of it's going to be new. But I think for a quarterback with his talent to be able to just know, if I do exactly what he's telling me to do, he's had a track record of success. We have playmakers. It's not my job to save the day. It's to do exactly what they've told me to do. And Caleb didn't blow games up with turnovers last year. I mean, he had a lot of fumbles, and he blew it up with bad sacks, bad situational football where he had no business taking a sack on 3rd and 3 when you're inside field goal range, and those 3 points will matter in this game, and that's where I see it coming down to. I'd like to think with the home field advantage and opening day and just all the hype that it's where the Bears are going to win 27-24, but I could see it easily going the opposite direction too. Um, yeah, I'm excited about it, man. I wouldn't want to face anybody else
We
in the
both have
season.
so much to look forward to because there's just like all optimism now, and it's fine. Like, if I'm being completely honest on how you and I, and this is not how most fans probably feel, but on you and I should feel very happy with a 9-8 season because as long as we're not getting the doors blown off of us, and as long as there's progress, and as long as it's growing pains, and as long as there's like a couple things that can get better, we're on the right track. But like
Yeah.
those are both like, in my opinion, those are like pretty low that the floors for us, and I think that is for coaching and personnel. I don't think it has to be like, oh, we're the best team, and it's like, okay, dude, like, all right, who are you trading our personnel for in the NFL? Like, from coaches to who you got playing for you, the wide receiving cores we both have. Like, what are we talking about, man? Like, okay, like, go down the league, and then it's like, we should look at our rosters and be like, we should be able to play with anyone, even if we have harder schedules. And I think last year, Green Bay and probably Detroit felt the same way. Love got hurt the first game, and they were hurt. And then Detroit even lost tons of defensive guys, but still maintained with the offense. But I'm just saying, like, we're kind of there. Like Green Bay, I don't know how much better they got because they've had a wide receiver, but like with Micah Parsons, he's 2 wins minimum. Like he's 2 wins. Like, so gross. I don't even want to talk about it.
Yeah,
I'm
that
so
wasn't
disgusted. This is like Reggie
that wasn't
White,
great news.
fucking Charles Woodson. Like they pull these every like decade or so, where you're like, what? You got who in their prime? You got fucking who in your prime? For fucking nothing? Charles Woodson, bro, they got
too late
like
first.
for nothing. They got fucking Reggie White for nothing, and it's like awesome, great.
And what's the worst the Packers are like from draft capital 24, 25? I mean, mate,
Jesus,
I mean, what
man.
are you?
Well, they're the
You're taking
favorite to win our
swings.
division now, man, and like I can't argue with it. Like I just think,
Yeah,
like
it's gonna
I
be.
said it. I said it a long time ago, man. We're just gonna beat the shit out of each other. Like hopefully one of us can win it all at the end between Detroit. Like I think we're all more physical. We're all like tactical. Like we have good coaching. Like it's like I think the we talked about the Hall of Fame coach run of the AFC West, but like I don't know. We're talking Campbell, Johnson, KOC, and LaFleur. There's some pretty fucking good coaches, man.
None of those coaches are going anywhere anytime soon.
No. So it's gonna be.
It'll be
That's
a banger,
why
bro.
I just say it just feels like it's gonna be a health thing, you know. Maybe some teams go up and down because of contracts and personnel that move on, but it feels like we're all pretty damn good right now.
Hey, that's not unlike what we're going to talk about on the top 12 teams in BC today, right? I mean, a lot of it will come down to health, which, a couple of players go on the IR, which is a whole other conversation that we still need to iron out. Let's look at Mandy's team and kick this off. You have Mandy ranked number 1. For this season alone, I don't think there's really much I would disagree with that. I think there's probably 4 or 5 teams that you could put in that spot. But my one thing with Mandy overall was just he has studs everywhere, but he has a lot of holes in the roster if something happens to a couple of his studs. And I think that's, what's been a little bit troublesome for him. But if you look at his team, I mean, it's loaded at impact positions.
Well,
with
here's the thing,
2 or 3 guys.
Because real quick on my rankings, Corey, and we're not gonna bring him up or anything, but like I have some guys who improved because we basically went and did all our reviews, and there's been the trades and everything. But to your point on Mandy, this was like our biggest concern, and I still had him 1, but I have him like green lit, like his team got better, and like. It's the interesting thing we were talking about earlier, like how long are we talking about? Because he just basically gave up Cook's long-term, I'd see, he got Cook back? Like, well, it's the Connor to Cook trade, and he got so much cap back, right? So when he was able to get all the cap back for some depth pieces he already had, he hit the waiver wire, he got depth back, and then he hit the waiver wire very hard and took like a lot of guys who are actual very good depth pieces. So he was Remember, I think he had 40 people or 38 people on his roster when we reviewed him because he had $0 of cap and he couldn't add anyone. But he made this trade, got like $150 worth of cap or something by giving up, I think, an extra piece. But by getting that, he went and got, I think in the last waiver run, I think he got 10 guys. And he extended a bunch. Like he got these undrafted free agents, linebackers that made the team. He got a bunch of frisky players that he was able to bet on long term. And I was looking at it today, and I'm like, how the hell did he not get that, like if you give up some of what it felt like he was kind of giving up some of his positional value, like it's like, look at it, he's like still good. So I actually thought he improved on his trade activity that he did, which was wild, right? Because I would have
Yeah, I got to be
figured
honest. I never even saw that trade come through.
he had like
Which is
two or
interesting. I'm
three of
looking at
them.
it
There
right
was
now.
one, he had one with Bad Boys that I think was good for both teams, where he got a bunch of backups and he sent Bad Boys a starter. And then he had the one with Taladega Charlie was
Talladega.
the big one. That's where he got all the cap. Because I remember, I signed up for some waiver guys and I saw it, and all of a sudden I was just like, wait, what? Mando has no money. What happened here? He just won
Mm,
all these guys for, $20 or something like that. He was like $18 to $20. And then he did the very smart play and extended him before the deadline to 5 years. So it's like, oh, dude, he just picked up like all these guys who were just added to the system because they made the rosters as like linebackers and whatever, because like I had bids on all the guys that were added to the system. That's always like what I watch, and that's a good thing for the league to pay attention to, is always look for like this once a week, just check who's getting added to the system, because like there are a lot of guys on rosters that until they're on an active roster they won't get added, but they, if you know the team, they might be, I don't know, like the coaches might like them, whatever. But hitting that an open 53 as like an undrafted free agent middle linebacker, that tells you that the coaching staff values them enough that they're not going to let him go through waivers because they don't want to lose him. And so
right.
Mando got a bunch of those guys. Bad Boys got one or two. So the active waiver guys got some really good players that came around because specifically so many guys got added to the system. So my top three did not change, right? Like as we'll go through. But all three of the top three that I had before, I thought improved through either what happened in the off season or the trades and moves they made. So just wanted to clarify that real quick. If
No,
you're
that's
looking
great.
through.
I honestly, in looking at this trade, the one with Talladega Charlie, he gave up Connor and Pittman and Josh Sweat, but he got back Cooks,
On a
Cade
good contract
Stover,
too, right?
right?
Cooks, like,
So and Javon Walker, I get. But I think, I mean, the Cook over Connor thing, obviously, long term is better. Connor, there's been some weird news coming out about him, and I think he's a little bit unhappy with maybe he's not getting the full workload.
no, I think they're
But
both
that's
talking
that's
one A,
probably
one B.
neutral.
I think they'll be fine. I do think Benson will
That's
be
kind of
good
a
this year.
Yeah, I think that's kind of neutral. I mean, neutral for this year. I mean, I'm not say I would have Cook that much ahead of him. So to give up Pittman, I think that probably speaks to the other depth that Indianapolis has at wide receiver with Adonai Mitchell and Josh Downs and Warren coming in and maybe soaking up some of those targets that Pittman's had in the past. So that's probably an okay move to move on. But then, like you said, if he freed up capital and fixed some of those holes that we were kind of nervous about. I think he had like 28 guys on his roster when we looked at it. It
It was
was it
so
was the
low.
lowest I've ever seen.
This
Yeah,
is why, like, I looked at this trade and I'm like, man, when's the last time a new guy just jumps in, right? Welcome Talladega Charlie. I hope we're chiming in and listening. But like a new guy jumps in and goes and gets wet in the trade market, and I looked at all his trades and I'm like, these are good trades, man. Like that one specifically, of overabundance of cap that he didn't need, and he utilized it well. Now, granted, Mando made incredible play to be able to trade with him to get that capital because I think he just used it to a masterclass, right? It's like he wanted all that so he could just go fill his roster on the wire with all these upside guys. I mean, maybe by halfway or the year or next year, they're all FAs, and it's like, whatever. But
yeah,
like, I think with what we were looking at before, our main thing was like Mando can't get hurt, and now Mando can get like very fortunate with other guys getting hurt and getting depth, which he didn't have before. So that's
Yeah.
why it's hard to get him off that number one spot for me.
Yeah, I mean, I love his running backs. His wide receiver core is okay. I mean, obviously with Nico, a top 6 or 7 wide receiver as your number one. Then he has Mims and Palmer as kind of decent. I would consider them threes, depending on how Mims does this year. But he had a pretty high point total last year, which is actually surprising me
Well, he
slightly.
does
But
returns kicks.
yeah, and so and then obviously a stud in tight end still. He looks like his linebacker depth improved. I mean, a lot of those guys are FAs and marginal, guys, but still he has pieces now that he can plug in and at least get points if something happens, and he's going to score enough points at his running back position to probably feed 2 other positions. So I mean, I think it's Manny's always in the running, and just a little bit of bad luck here and there, and he would have banners. So we got to move on though, because otherwise we will be on this for 3 hours. So you had Penn State next. Mike's
I
always
did.
making moves and doing great work. What did you see on his team? Anything glaring that jumped out?
Well, again, he's still at 2 because he also improved where he was at, and I think that is the Ollie Gordon emergence is a big one. Not just because Devon A. Train is dinged up, but from everything I've read, it's like Jalen Wright's out, and Ollie Gordon might get a split workload. So that's like a late pick I was kind of writing off. Sean Tucker is super valuable now that Wright's on IR, which he had anyways.
White,
That's kind of White, sorry.
yeah,
So that kind of goes off a little bit. But he didn't lose anyone, and I felt like a lot of his fringe players got what he would have wanted, right? Like they got the starting roles, or he's got Jack Kaiser, who's in an incredible spot right now. Like all those linebackers are trending down. I don't know, man. Like I just kind of went through and I was like, all right, well, Diablo was a fringe guy. Yep, he's a starter. Like I think he's gonna be able to. Like he avoided that big run of where you could get a lot of bad news for your players, and I feel like he got all majority positive news.
he's done a lot of smart things too. And I'm not always a fan of this, but he's done it pretty well as far as combining guys on teams, right? So if it's not going to be one guy, it's going to be the other, but there's still standalone value, given that like in the running back position, oftentimes even the third string guy is getting looks. So if he has an injury to A Chain, Ali Gordon is going to go back, not to elite status probably, but fill in 12, 14 points a game. Same thing with Tucker and White, and then he's done it at the linebacker core with kind of some uncertainty in Jacksonville with 3 guys in Jacksonville playing linebacker. So he's always kind of got pieces to fill in if there's injuries, and that's a good way of looking at, okay, how do I handcuff my key players, or go after 3 or 4 guys on a depth chart on one team to make sure that I'm going to get points one way or the other, right? So I mean, that's an interesting strategy. I've never really considered doing that, but I
Yeah,
might have to
I've
look
done
into
it
that
in
a
a
little bit
couple
more.
leagues at times, and I've seen it go very poorly, and I've seen it go very well, right? Like, because the best case scenario on these situations is what happens is if you're backing a guy up, and let's take Jack Kaiser and Devin Lloyd, for example, right? Well, what happens if Jack Kaiser takes Devin Lloyd's job and they cut him, and then he becomes a 3 down linebacker for another team? It's like
And
now
I
you
think
have
that had to be a part of his analysis, because they didn't
right.
sign Lloyd to his 5th year. So then
I
he went
think
and
in
got Kaiser
redraft
as
leagues, I'd never believe in handcuffing. I think it's terrible. But I've noticed
right.
in these leagues, like sometimes it works out, man, because you're like, oh, I'm handcuffing this guy, and then oh, he takes his job, but then that guy goes to another team, and then he gets a starting role, and you're like, well, I ended up with depth, and now I have 2 starters. Now it can flip the other way, but it is an
Yeah.
interesting strategy, and I think it's much more successful in dynasty. Um, when it goes right, it's awesome, right?
Even the Arian Smith and Alan Lazard, right? Arian Smith, obviously, somewhat of an ascending rookie. He's got Lazard in case that he starts the season off early. reliable vet, so stuff like that's pretty interesting to look at. His wide receiver room is pretty good now that he has Jimmy Horn in there too. That probably will see some more action with Coker out, even though they signed Renfro. So I listen. At the end of the day, I would love to see if it's not me at the end of the year holding up a trophy. I'd love to see Mandy or Penn. I think they're probably the most deserving over the last few years of owners that have not, you know, hoisted the trophy at the end of the year. So they're both
Yeah,
in
and
great
I
spots.
I think it's safe to say that outside of my third person, I don't think anyone else would keep their roster if they were allowed to get either of these two rosters, Corey. I could be
I wouldn't
wrong.
trade my I wouldn't trade my roster for Mandy's roster.
Okay.
I'm not as comfortable being that top heavy. It's just not the way I built my teams. I mean, I'm attached to my players, but I like having three studs or three guys. Two running backs a little bit tougher to have the three studs that Mandy has. I think anybody would want his running back room right now,
I like
and he can
having no
obviously.
holes, which both these rosters basically don't.
Well, he doesn't have a lot of holes. Like, I think in my initial rankings, I did have Mandy ranked on like a couple of
You
C's,
had him way lower
and
than
I'd
me.
have to go
I'm way higher.
right. And that's because of my overall belief that you have to have depth, which people don't believe you can have. But I think that that's been proven somewhat wrong by some of the other teams. And I'll say with my success, one injury or two injuries hasn't ruined my season on a given week. Now, if it's a season-ending injury, yeah, that's going to hurt. But I wouldn't trade my roster for Mandy's team. I don't think I would trade it for Pens. Now, there's parts of it that I would move around. But the things that they do,
Then
like
maybe
it's
you
hard to
have the
say that they
best
don't.
roster in the league, Corey.
Well, no, that's not what I'm saying. But I don't think that they're. Listen, man, a lot of things can happen. Different strategies for different owners. If I were going to trade my roster with anybody at this point, it'd probably be Bad Boys.
Well,
Like I like his
that's
youth.
what
I
I was
like his
segueing into.
yeah
Bad Boys at number
yeah.
three. He's probably the lowest he'll be in the next 3 years. Like it's and in our review we did we went over it, but same thing, man. He's got so much youth. Draft capital went and he made trades like when we reviewed his roster, his running backs were, I think I wrote A plus 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 plus. It's just like absolutely unfathomable. Like we'd take his running back room probably in any league we play with 16 teams, right? Like it's silly. So
Yeah.
it's like, okay, so the idea is like, well, what can Warren do if he leverages like one of these running backs and goes get something? Warren didn't leverage any of his good players. He leveraged all his bad players and his like cast-offs and his like I don't know, let me talk you into this guy
Oh,
players
I'm well aware
into
of those offers.
improvements. Into
Yeah.
improvements. So he made multiple
He's he,
trades where he took his trash and turned it just to a little bit better trash, let's call it. But like more reliable trash. Like I don't want to call it trash, but like he improved his roster by getting rid of guys that,
Warren's
quite frankly, he could
Warren's
have lived
like the
without.
guy. Warren's like the guy on Craigslist that could have taken a paper clip and ended up 3 months later with a brand new Lamborghini, like by selling it one trade at a time. Here, I'll give you this paper clip
Pretty
for a
pretty good
stapler. The
analogy.
stapler.
I mean, at this point, he has a Lambo, and
He
he
does.
definitely had a paperclip at one point. So he did it. He did something incredibly right.
Somehow he always just gets a little bit better in that deal. I mean,
Yeah.
it's funny. Like I'm not talking shit on Warren. Like I've tried my best to understand how he sends trade offers. We're just not going to do business, and that's fine. But you have to respect the game. Like he finds ways to position things and get people to understand, and he puts a lot of work into it. And I think that's half the battle. He keeps firing, and good on him.
But
He's
I think a
built
couple of the
an
trades he
amazing
made
team.
improved those teams, even if it was marginal or they like. I didn't look at anything he did and was like, "Oh God, like that's a bad trade for both or one or like It's like, okay, cool. I see exactly why he did that, and it's like, okay,
And I think
this
that's
roster is slowly getting to be a problem. Like
right.
I had to convince myself. I like looked at some spots where he's not quite strong yet, right? He's not quite elite in a couple positions. Unlike I feel like the top two can start 2 to 3 every position, and there's no talking. He's got a couple holes here, but he doesn't have much, man. And again, okay, Jalen Warren just got an extension. Jordan Mason's going to have a huge role. Ashton Genty's a problem. Marion Hampton's going to have the workload. And Chase Brown is ridiculous. And he's probably just trying to sell Isaac Garendo to somebody for, you know,
Oh yeah,
$1.20 on the dollar or whatever. But
that's
it's
definitely out there.
but like just you
Well,
go
the
down
only
the
thing that I
line,
can
it's
say
like he
about
didn't get worse. He didn't get worse. Like all the offseason news, Emeka Mbuka, and he has Chris Godwin, who's also probably coming back. It's like, all right, that's great. You know, like I
Tinsley
went
made
down.
the
I'm like,
team, Bailey got traded. I mean, it's all.
I mean, he even lost
I
Troy
think the only thing
Anderson. Doesn't matter, man. Like he's still like solid.
the only thing that is somewhat comforting in playing him in the opening week, which I'm I think like a 25, 30 point underdog, which is fine, is some like the Jaden Reed injury. That's a huge question mark.
Yeah, Anderson and Mustafa are spots where he could have used those points this week for
I
sure.
think the Marion Hampton workload probably out the gates not going to be as big as it will be at the end of the year. We don't know, but they're playing the Chiefs. I mean, I think his over for the rushing is like 45 on 11 carries.
Is he
I'll take
playing
that
Hampton?
this week.
Like who's he playing? He could play three of them. He's playing
Well,
Chase Brown, Genty, and pick one of the three.
he's playing Chase Brown, he's playing Genty, and he's probably playing Warren if it's me. But I mean, it's hard not to play
It's
Hampton. But
great.
right. So I mean, Ibuka,
Nobody
like
has these problems in
Ibuka, like
BC ever, by the way.
I know. I'm just trying to find a little bit of slimmer of hope here. Like that, it's like if you're gonna face him, you're gonna face him when his rookies are young and in tougher matchups, and just hope that a couple of my guys go buck wild and it stays close. But I don't like seeing the Cincinnati Bengals quarterback because if Higgins and Gesicki have a good game, I'm probably about equal
Oh,
to
that's
to
a
his
rough one on
quarterback.
your end. He's basically handcuffing your best
He's
assets.
he's stacked with my guys, which is wonderful.
Jesus.
But it's going to be fun, man. I mean,
That's a good
I'm like the
matchup. That's
Bears,
matchup
but
of the week without a shadow of a doubt. I haven't even looked at the schedule. It's got to be you
it
guys,
has to
right?
be, yeah, yeah. I
I mean,
mean,
unless
I would
Penn's
say,
playing Mando or something crazy like that. That's you guys got to be able the matchup to watch out the gate.
and I'm fully expecting to get throttled, and I'll be okay with it. I've looked at the next 5 weeks, and I still think I can be 4-1. So, um, it is what it is, man. That's
Got to
why we
make that
play it.
top
We'll
12,
see what
Corey.
happens. Yeah,
We'll
the
see if
shitty
you
part
made
is I'll
my
be in.
top 12. We haven't gotten to you yet.
That's fine. I'm sure I'm pretty far down the list. The only issue is I'll be in Yosemite for the next 4 days, so I'll see basically the Monday night game, which I'm excited about, and the Thursday night game. So
Are you
hopefully
gonna
I can
you're
find
gonna
the internet on
be
a top
you're
of.
gonna have service at least for the Bears Vikings game? I was like, you would have had to leave the
I
family, right?
well, I told her that I'm going to be home at 5 o'clock on Monday, so we're leaving on Monday, so that's not a problem.
Sounds like an awesome trip.
Unless there's Yeah, I'm excited about it. Anyway, let's move on to your number 4 team.
Yeah. So okay. So the four team here is a change, right? I had Lazy Bears also making an improvement in the off season, and it's more about it's partially about what Lazy Bears did, but like my 4 and 5 guys who is I had Baltimore at 4 and America's last great American dynasty 5, and I feel like they had some things not quite go their way, pushed up Lazy Bears, and so we have Lazy Bears 4, Baltimore 5, last Great American Dynasty 6. That's my next 3. So
Okay.
let's start with the Lazy Bears, and what do you think, Corey? Because I think you had
I
them
mean,
a much lower than me, didn't you?
no, I had him at 7,
Okay, so
so not too far off. Um, but if I'm looking at it on the spot here, I think you have to give a little bit of a bump to Javonte Williams first and foremost at the running back
Absolutely. No one
position.
else is healthy
Uh,
there. I agree.
so that's a good start. I lost my tab here. Hold on just a second. Garrett Judy, Metcalf, Garrett Wilson, three studs.
I think
No
Taj
real
Washington
changes
looked
there.
really good
Taj
during camp.
Washington.
Yeah. So it's a good other depth
Uh,
piece. He's got
not really see much
Njoku.
difference at tight end.
Yeah, I don't think there's a lot changing other than the Julian Hill piece might actually be valuable. It looks like Darren Waller's. I mean, now he's got a hip thing, so
Oh,
he
that's a
might actually
surprise.
he might actually get a yeah exactly. He might actually get a starter out of that. That's kind of part of the uptick that I had. And then yeah, like the rest of his roster was super solid. He didn't end up getting a lot of guys hurt. Um, and there was a lot of changes on defense, like pretty drastic stuff that affected a lot of rosters. And I think he pretty much avoided it all. So
He
again, it's
has
like
one free agent. I mean, that's
exactly,
fucking good.
exactly, man. Like so, he avoided injury bugs. He avoided the cuts, and I think some of his battles went his way as well, as far as like guys like Duck Storm and like I mean, there's guys that are gonna start. He's got good enough starters to get him through lineups all the way through. Jahad Campbell's probably gonna play a lot. I think Jacoby Dean is looking to be out like a while, like maybe 8 games. So it's like, man, I look at like how many teams do we gonna look at where you're like your starting lineup is in and you're having conversations of, well, should I do this guy or this guy or this man? That's a real nice problem to have in BC when you're not talking about like returners or nickel or like part-time cornerbacks. You know what I mean? When you just like,
Yeah,
I know,
he's extremely balanced.
yeah, and not super top heavy. I
Extremely
mean, that
balanced.
running back position's a little bit, but like I just looked at this and I was like, I think this is a, he's got that Lions QB. He's gonna be good. Like I just think it's a tough roster to beat, man. And I think, to your point, even like going to Warren because he had a couple of injuries, was like this roster looks tough to beat week 1 and tough to beat week 13. You know what I mean? He's kind of
It's
got
a
the vibe.
190 to 220 roster consistently, and I think that's where you need to be, right?
Absolutely. I
To
mean, he's
win the
got zero
majority of your
cap.
ball.
He's got zero cap. He's not in IR risk though, so he's all in with what he's got, and it looks pretty good. I mean, again, 45 players on FA. I think you said like, who isn't taking that?
Yeah, no, that's great. I love his safety room too. Hey, you want to make a deal for a safety?
There you go.
Hazelnuts?
Send, send the
All right,
goods
let's move
over.
on to the next one.
Yeah,
Baltimore.
Baltimore's my 5. And it's just because of a couple dings that I saw here and there, I think his running back room, we were both kind of mediocre on, and I don't think there was a lot of improvement there, right? You could say Chris Brooks got the third guy, so that's kind of there, but it felt like his roster's pretty stable. But again, Greg Dulcich got cut, so now he's like pretty light on the tight end. I kind of anticipated he'd get a role. And then his linebackers got extremely thin with Junior Colson going to the IR. And he had some other, he had Jacob Phillips also go, which was kind of more of a special teamer, but rotation guy. But the Junior Colson, I think, is the one that we were probably anticipating having the depth. Now, those 3 starters, awesome. He's going to get Colson back after week 4. Not super devastating, but like it's again, it's not as comfortable as a roster as I think it once was, but like not enough to drive him down a ton. It's just like, can somebody pass him from below? And that answer was Lazy Bears, and so that's why I have him.
Yeah, and I wasn't as high as on him originally. I think I had him ranked 11, and that was mostly due to probably the running back room. I'm not a huge fan of. Wasn't a fan of the. I mean, the depth at linebacker is like you said. He's got three guys. I think Demetrius Knight, um, getting that role like over the last 3 weeks or month.
Yeah,
I
he's
think
gonna
it's
be.
is a plus.
That's true. I think we probably did review him when that wasn't a certain thing. I think
Right. So
Pratt
then you
hadn't
just
gotten
had three
released
with
yet.
him
Yeah,
I think he was still on the on his taxi squad when he looked at, but we mentioned it. We're
possibly.
like, hey, you might
Yeah,
want to take a look at that. So I mean, I think he has a solid team.
he has
Again,
star
not one I
power.
would.
That's like kind of what I look at. He's got the CeeDee
His wide
Lamb.
receiver group's good.
He's got the Baltimore Ravens quarterback. You know what I mean? Like he's got like the high end studs that can get those extra points to kind of make up for some stuff.
I think this is a they them because there's two guys, right?
Yeah,
Because
two
they
guys,
both have the big D's.
Brian and
Yeah. We'll call they'll
Uncle
call it
Nick.
they thems. Yeah, Uncle Nick.
I mean, you can call it whatever you want. I hope it doesn't offend him.
No, that's not offensive. That is super forward thinking. So everybody's a they
Unless you
them,
don't want
I
a
think.
pronoun, then it's a little, you know.
Right. All right. Well, feel free to give us some feedback, BDs. We know what you're packing, so
Do
I
you
don't want to
like your
offend you.
pronouns Corey gave you?
I don't operate
Um,
with pronouns
so last
ever.
American Dynasty, I think you had like first, right? In our original
I
review.
did, and I don't know if that. I'm excited to look at this. I
Yeah,
don't know if, like I
I had
said
him
in
fifth before, and I only dropped him a spot. It's going to be very similar.
the Jalen McMillan injury probably is not great. KJ Hamler getting cut, not great. The running back room was scary to me. Did he have something happen there? Because I can't imagine that. I think I probably had that as a borderline A room, but probably lean towards a B because I didn't like the depth. I like the two studs at wide receiver. It's possible. It's possible. I'm not 100% sure, but I'd have to go look back at the rankings to see if there was an input error because I'm not sure quite how I have them number one.
Was there a
But
trade
yeah, I
that
mean,
happened like recently? I didn't actually check that for them.
I like his linebackers. I like his safety room. I just there's in just at first glance here, I don't understand how I had him. But again, there were times where we were feeling a little bit more positive or a little tired, and you're just clicking through. And I'm not making excuses, but he's got a good team. Don't get me wrong, but I
I
see
don't think it's an
some
excuse, man.
issues.
Like we didn't have this to an exact science. I did that very similarly. I think I probably would.
Yeah, and I think the more you get into it, you kind of see where some of the 5 1/4 teams are versus a 4 1/4, and again, I think the fine tuning of the rankings or just how we. I think as I continued to go, I was like, oh, I'll just give them an A, and then where I was like, well, maybe I need to balance out if I've had two now that are an A kind of, and then I'll do an A and a B, and so there was a little bit of that. I think next year we can be a little bit more consistent with how we're approaching this. But anyway, he's got a good squad. I don't like it as good as the other three for sure that we talked about in the top three. I don't. I wouldn't trade my team for this lineup either. I think he's got some studs. He's got some depth. He's only got 35 total players, so he's got depth, but not. You know, I
35
mean,
is a little disappointing considering that he has cap. His IR guy only takes about 10 of his 55, so it's about $45. Probably mistimed or just didn't pay attention to that last run of waivers. But he could certainly have gotten another 5, 6 decent guys with that capital to make this a little more deeper. I think you're right that maybe I could have dropped him more, but I think again his star power when you're sitting with Brian Thomas Jr. and Jackson Smith Jigba as two wide receivers with Bijan Robinson, and I'm pretty high on Zach Charbonnet. Like those are
me
four.
too. Yeah.
Hawkinson's great at, and he has John Jew who's probably going to play two tight ends, so that the depth at the other spots doesn't hurt as much. His point being, like, it's like when you got star power, you're a tough team to beat. Garrett, he's got Miles Garrett. You know, like he's
Yep.
got dudes who just put you on the map. His linebacking core is going to be it's not deep, but those three guys are going to, I think, all score 200 points this year. Just I kept wanting to put him down, but then I was just like, geez, man, like it's going to be a lot of
He's got a good
points
spot.
any given week where you'll be like, oh, that's so like especially for anyone new in the league, it's like what are the goal you're trying to get at? And I think Corey, you and I agree. Like if you get to 200 to 215 in a week, you feel pretty decent about going against most teams, and sometimes you got to get a little more. But this is like a
Yeah,
roster
when
that feels like it
bye
can
weeks
get to that
start.
300 mark, which is like you just like wipe the floor.
Yeah. Yep. Good squad. Uh, it'll be interesting to see how it shakes out for him. All right, we're on to your number 17.
So number 7 is your team. I had you number 8
Oh,
before. I put you as a neutral team, meaning that I thought you had good news and bad news, right? So I didn't move you in the rankings, but actually the person I had ahead of you, I dropped down because I think they actually had bad things happen to them and not good. So let's just go to your roster since we like to make sure we're focusing on Corey as much as we can. We don't want to have any distractions of these other guys.
all
But
right.
I mean, we get no. I'm kidding. I do get to do the famous dig. Gabe Davis has found a home back in
Yeah.
Buffalo. Corey, tell me how you feel knowing that Gabe Davis not only is back in Buffalo, but might fetch you 2 first rounders if you feel like parting with them.
Hmm. No, I mean I'm realistic that his value is not that anymore. But let's be honest, like throwing out there that I'm going to go get a good wide receiver for a first round pick, I think we can put that to rest. It's just not realistic. Unless it's a $400 contract or something like that, that you got to give up a bunch of other
I the
pieces to make
beholder
it.
sometimes, but yeah, it's tricky.
Yeah. So I think it's good news just because it could fill a hole on a week, and I think I won't need him necessarily till the bye weeks start. I think him being on the practice squad means that he's still working through some injury stuff. Like, let's be honest, like I think he does have a good rapport with Josh Allen, and there could be blow up games, and that's all I've really ever needed from him in the past was he could have a game where it's two long balls for 2 touchdowns, and it's just a familiarity. And they don't have a lot of star power at their wide receivers other than Shakir, who I really like this year, Coleman, Kincaid. It's just a familiar face on a roster that I can have him as my third or fourth guy, or even my third guy on a bye week. So I mean, it doesn't hurt, but I always kind of expected him to sign, and I think him signing with the Bills is a good thing because he doesn't have a lot of ramp up to be comfortable with the quarterback and within the
Got rapport
systems.
with Josh Allen, you know. I mean,
And he's still a $17 contract, so I mean it's there's value there in my opinion.
I thought Brian
I
Robinson
think
is like I don't know if I don't I think I might have said this before, but I don't know if he lost value, but his value is more volatile, right? So
yeah.
like if Brian Robinson is now getting you 3 points a game because he's only getting 10% snaps, that would really suck, right? But like
Yeah.
he's probably going to be included. It's probably going to be better than that. The worst case scenario in Washington is they totally shelved him because it was definitely trending down from there. And then if like McCaffrey gets hurt again, I mean, you might have an absolute monster on your hands. Where there was like no scenario, I think you had a monster on your hands in Washington, right? So I just think it's an interesting player. I think we would agree that Brashard Smith trending up from when we last talked. I mean, he made the team, That was the first part that I was doubtful would happen, and there's a lot to be seen on where it goes. But
I
let's just say
think
it got
I think
better.
he's really trending up too, Ben, just because of some of the injuries. Jalen Royals not playing. Now we have Rashi Rice out
Well,
six
they have
games. Like I
five
think there's a
guys. They have four
yeah.
running backs, and now they're putting Carson Steele at fullback. So it's like he might not
I think he's
dress
more of a
on
gadget
Friday,
player.
but he might not dress on Friday. Like you have to be prepared for that reality, right? Like he might not.
Yeah,
Like they might just, okay, you're not going up. But it doesn't matter. Like to me, I think he's exactly where you thought he was going to be, and he's proven a little more than I thought he was going to be. And then,
I would be shocked if he doesn't dress on Friday, but I mean, like you said, it could be a situational per week kind of thing. But I think he's a gadget guy. He's their kickoff returner. I think they have kind of an established idea of how they want to utilize him. I couldn't have been more excited about how he was kind of integrated into some certain plays and designs for him out of the backfield as a receiver and, on some kind of gadget wheel routes and even lining up at wide receiver. So I'm excited about him. I'm happy with the return of value so far. I think the Brian Robinson thing, not to beat a dead horse, out of all the landing spots he could have ended up, I think it's about as good as I could have asked
it's
for.
yeah,
Just because there's going to be 3 games that McCaffrey is either workload managed or they're
can't
winning by
argue
a
with it.
lot, and he's pounding the ball late. I think goal line opportunities are as good or better than they were in Washington if they choose to use them in that role. Sometimes I think you might see some 2 back sets. Like Brian Robinson's a little bit better receiver, I think, than people have given him credit for, and that's one of the things that attracted me. And then just Shanahan going out right away and say he's our number 2 running back. The first
Yeah.
2 days they signed him, I think that
R.I.P.
gives
Garando.
you the confidence. Yeah, Garendo is now on the market. Um, so yeah, I'm excited about that. Wide
I think
receivers,
yeah.
I think I lost.
I think on offense, like you got to feel good about where things trended, even if you got a couple FAs against some of the guys. And then it's like
Yeah, and
on
they're both on
defense.
the practice squad, so
Yeah,
I mean, it is
on
what it is.
defense, the good news is you got that position change from safety to linebacker on Mapu Marte, and like man, like talk about a crazy thing. I don't want to go on a big tangent, but like the fact that the New England Patriots moved on from Kyle Duggar and Julius Peppers for like kind of Jags, man. Like I don't know,
No,
Jalen
they kept
Hawkins.
Duggar.
They've
They
moved
kept
on.
Duggar.
They're trying to trade him. I mean, Duggar is
Okay.
farther. Duggar was playing with the third string defense on the last preseason game. They are
No, I
done with
saw
him.
it. Yeah, that's why I was shocked.
But this is my point. It's like they so like I don't really know what's going on in New England because it's a variable show and like we'll see, man. Like it's crazy, but that could end up being a good depth piece. You really needed it with losing Jalen Carley's,
Carly's.
but
Yeah,
I
I think that's probably
really,
him and Booker
really
are
I
hurt.
looked at all the rosters below you, and I really thought I was going to be able to move you down based off the safety room alone. I mean, the safety
Yeah,
room
yeah,
is bad, but
it's bad.
I in the end I didn't convince myself that any roster below, even with the safety issues, was good enough to
It's my weak
take
spot.
a
I
spot.
think that's 100% fair. I mean, I'm hoping to get 5 points on special team tackles out of my 2 safety spots, like total.
Yeah.
But there's moves to be made, right? Like, and I think the way I'm trying to be optimistic is I do think if Booker's back and is productive, I have some defensive end depth, and there's other things that can be done. I'm happy that Gesicki's healthy because that was a little bit scary for me, but he's not going in with an injury tag designation
Yeah, that
for
would have
week
been a
one.
big
So
blow
that,
too.
because then I'm my 2 weakest positions. I'm losing points there, and that's what I tried to avoid. So I don't know. I mean, I don't feel any more confident than I have any other season. I'm high on my wide receivers that signed that were on the fringe, and other than old J Ross, like I feel like I got some guys there that can score some points this year, and I'm gonna have to scramble at safety and just hope that my top performers perform every week. But I feel like it's fair. Like I've always been kind of in the 8 to 10 range. Maybe last year I was ranked a little bit higher, coming off the first chip, but I mean that's probably where I belong. Like if you look at my
Yeah.
team and you're not attached to it, it's just like, oh, it's okay. But
No, you got some
I
star
got some picks
power,
up my
good
sleeve.
contracts. Like, and again, we're not overworking on the contracts in this conversation, but it just doesn't matter. It does matter with flexibility on like what moves you can make this year. So if you have to,
Yeah, yeah. Jaden Higgins has to perform this year too. Otherwise, that trade for JMO is going to hurt me. But I had to do it to get more depth and to try to have some capital to work with. So long term, I like it. This year, it's going to be a big question mark. I can't have JMO Williams scoring 240 points and Higgins scoring 100. So that would be rough to watch. So anyway, enough about me. Let's move on to your number 8 team.
yeah, number 8. I my roster went up quite a bit. I'm number 8, and I have myself number 12. I think you had me much higher than I had myself, which was very nice of you. I don't know about much higher, but I know your grade was better than mine that I gave myself.
No, I
But
have. Yeah, I have. We both have the same grade on my books. I had me fifth and you sixth. So I mean,
oh, okay. Well, see, you had me all the way 6. Like I was down in 12, and because I didn't want to overvalue my speculation. Remember, that was like the first division we did, and since then, if we go real quick to my roster, I mean, like I got very lucky on a lot of places, and I didn't get very unlucky. Like I hit a bunch of IR spots with guys I could have cared less, and a lot of my draft picks didn't, especially late flyers, didn't hit that FA. Right, I had some, but the Efton Chisholm hype train was pretty aggro this offseason, and then he made the 53. That was nice. I don't know how productive he'll be now, but the Torrey Horton hype train is for real, right? I think you and I are pretty high on Torrey Horton at this point. I think we talked about like his value and like where he would go if he was in the draft today, and I think that was a pretty great hit. It's going to depend on Jalen Naylor, at least, especially through these first 3 games. I think I'll be okay, but the Adam Thielen edition kind of takes me out. But I lost Robert Woods, who will either retire or probably go to somebody like the Vikings, which would be hilarious. But like I have a handful of return guys now. Xavier Smith is a returner. I picked up Mile Price. He's a returner. Collins Bowe made the roster. That was my 6th rounder. Looked really good in camp and preseason. I feel like my wide receiver depth, which I was like super wishy-washy, I feel like at least a little better on. Didn't take a lot of hits in the running backs either. And then my tight ends kind of maintained. Luke Gladsch's, on the practice squad, but Gunner looks good, and so my offense, it felt pretty good about, in general. And then my defense maintained for the most part, except I gained a starting safety off of one of my draft picks with Xavier Watts, and that was like pretty big ad. I think Harrison Smith is questionable week 1. But having 3
FYI,
starting safeties in big roles was pretty cool.
I
What's
drafted
that?
what Castro. I drafted Castro 321, and I think I was waiting for Watts to fall to me. So that
Yeah,
was that was a move that was forced my hand.
him and
So
Billy
good on you there.
Bowman, man, on Atlanta, they both got starting spots. Another like wild turn of events. I mean, Billy Bowman's got the nickel, but holy smokes, like for me that was pretty good. And it wasn't like I'm at 8 more because a lot of the other guys kind of like got worse. If that makes sense between me and there,
Yeah.
but I feel I knew there were like real scenarios coming out of this training camp, and if like let's say nobody works out, and then I have some bad cuts and a couple injuries, I just knew I could be going into rebuilding mode. And now I feel like, okay, I'm gonna compete this year. I'm gonna move. Like if I make
I
moves,
think
it's to win now. It's not to rebuild later, and that's what I was pretty stoked about.
I think where I was nervous about your team, and I think we talked about this, was your wide receiver room. I think the Horton future looks super bright. I think with Cup there, it's a little bit limited, but even if he ascends late in the year, like you at least got another starter with upside there, and Chisholm too. Depending on where he fits in this year, like, but still, like, points possible to be scored on bye weeks and things of that nature. So I think it's definitely improved. I think if I'm looking at it from last year comparative to this year, I think your running back point or your quarterback points come down, basis of what Darnold did last year compared to what I think.
But I had
Your guy.
I had touchdown Jesus, who was a disappointment last year. So
Oh, okay, all right. Well, I'm
I
just saying
traded I
428.
traded
I
for the
think
Vikings this year, but that number could come down. Yes.
I see Aaron Jones' number come down this year. I think Jordan Mason will end up kind of being more the guy this year. I just he's kind of like
It's going to be on
Aaron
the
Jones has
screen
kind of been
game
like
because it's a 1A 1B
yeah.
type thing, and I know we're really implementing the screen game to make sure McCarthy has options to get stuff out quick. Same thing, right? So
Yeah,
like
and he could have more
agree that
valuable
his role is
touches
going to go
too.
down, but I think he can be similarly valuable if that makes sense. Maybe not
Yeah, he could have more
270,
high
but
end
let's
touches.
say 230, 220.
Yeah, yeah. And then McLaughlin, kind of the same deal. It's like, how is he utilized? Can he get to that 130 point range? And how
Stoked
are
he
they going to
made the
fit him in
team with how
McCarthy?
things were going. I didn't know,
Yeah,
and like
yeah.
even on the depth chart,
So
he looks like he's relevant. We'll see.
I love Gunnar Helm. I mean, I think huge target for me in all my leagues, and I think you have to be very optimistic, especially with Kelsey getting long in the tooth. Like Kelsey probably has 2 years left, and then he's gone.
Yeah.
So it's like then you have a guy waiting in the wings that could be as early as this year, where he's scoring points, and I see him as a future double digit point scorer in the league. Like I just have liked everything I've seen from that dude. So plus with a rookie quarterback and opportunity to grow with him, I think I love that pick. So yeah, I mean, I think you have a lot of variance in how you could end up, but I think from where you probably started the season to where you are now, like I think you have to feel pretty good about some of the developments. So, and
Yeah,
a
I
good
think
draft,
I
dude.
have
I
I
mean,
have the like upside depth guys, and those upside depth guys, they have to make the team. You know what I mean? Like if they don't make the team, like we all like who we draft or who we pick up. Drake Thomas, for example, from Seattle, like as a guy, like I was banking on hopefully getting like he's the next guy up and might even start if Knight's not ready on Sunday, and so it's like wow, quite cool. Like I got a backup linebacker. That's one injury away from 80 points for some fill-in stuff. So I felt like when I looked at my team now versus before, I was like, do I like my team better than I did before? And that answer is just yes. So that's where
all right, we're on to the next one, number 9, because we are an hour and 15 almost in. So let's
I'm.
keep
All right,
this
we'll
rolling,
get there.
buddy.
We
Good
only have
job.
four more. So Michigan, I had ranked seventh before. I dropped him below you and I, so he's ninth. And then after that, I have my biggest riser and the first to come from out of the top 12 into the top 12. And that's Taladega Charlie. So I danced with these two rosters pretty hard because I want to put Taga Charlie like way higher. I thought what he's done with his moves since he got here. I think you had that roster quite high before, but I had him lower. And it kind of solidified his weaknesses, kind of just coming into some nice spots. So first, let's go over Michigan, and I'll go really quick because a lot didn't change on his roster. You know what I mean? It was very similar to yours, Corey, where there was like a little bit of good, a little bit of bad, maybe some more bad than good. But I really want to dive into to the new guys roster because I think he came in, made a lot of deals, and got really good. You know, so like a
Yeah, I
Michigan,
think you.
one of the positives that Michigan had was like the Nick Chubb
Yep.
realization now as a starter really bolsters that running back. You know, this is a guy I thought I was going to put up. And then I kind of start to go down, and a lot of fringe guys turned into the FAs, had a lot of guys get cut, a lot of guys get moved. Tight end room's still good. I'd say his wide receiver room is same, if not a little worse, just because of some guys moving. And then his linebacker room is really tough right now. And I thought a lot of these guys were going to get a much better role or chance to play. Like Kaiser White just signed, but like he kind of signed with the worst team where it's just like super muddled in Tennessee. So it's like not as optimistic as I kind of thought that was going to be. You know, so it's just like a little here, a little there. Probably could have got better news. Safeties, same way. You still got Jesse Bates and Branch, but I kind of worry from it from there. So it's kind of why I moved down a couple of my spots. It's still a very good roster, and there's still a lot that could happen, especially, you know, like I said, the FA. It's like Kaiser White goes in and gets that secondary role, and now he's, you know, that could happen within a week. So there's some things
Yeah.
that could change, but for now, I kind of had him.
Yeah, I was more middle of the league for him. I had him at 15, so I mean, there's not much for me to really dig into. I just think he lacks a bit of star power in the wide receiver room and some of the other spots, so the linebacker room, like you've talked about. So I think he's got a good roster. I think he's middle of the pack in general. I think the Chubb news and the Tank Bigsby news has been good though, right? Like I think originally it probably would have had Tank Bisbee as a question mark, but it seems like he's, um, at least early in the season has fielded off the rookie and maybe we'll get the first and second down touches
Yeah,
in Jacksonville. So that's pretty good too. I'm just not super high on his wide receiver room outside of uh, Adunze. I think Hopkins probably pretty washed, but who knows? Maybe there's a revitalization there. And then he's got Jalen Noel on his
I'm probably
taxi
higher on
squad
him
and
now.
Hutchinson. Hutchinson probably should be activated too. I think he's in line, to be at least the third or fourth guy on that team,
Yep.
fourth or fifth guy on that team. Yeah,
Taladega Charlie. Now that we've talked about it, I wish I would have put him up there and dropped Old Michigan 10th, but I didn't. And Talladega Charlie, welcome to the league. It's not often that people come to this league, and the first thing we're talking about is how great a job their trade moves are when they came in. I mean, it just the getting accustomed to the contract style, the scoring style
There he
here.
is, plain and simple. And don't wake up
There it
before
is.
It's excellent.
Amazing.
first our first audio drop. Thanks for that, Talladega Charlie. I'm
Yep,
gonna learn how to
I
do that.
came on mine, then it came on yours. That was fantastic. But man, like good team. I probably had it underrated before, but I had him out of my. I had him 15th, and now he's all the way up here
I
at
had him
10th.
eight, so I think that's
He's my
probably
highest riser,
yeah.
and
I had him eight.
his moves got him to again, he's a little top heavy now, but more complete in my opinion, right? Like he's got James Conner and Bucky Irvin are great starters. Not a lot of fill in after that. Jalen Coker is coming back after 4 weeks, and he's going to be probably pretty important to that offense now that Thielen's gone. And Dubs, Damari Douglas, Michael Pittman, now that he picked him up, it's like, okay, now we have a good wide receiver core. It's not
I mean,
fantastic.
even Sky Moore.
And Sky Moore, definitely, we'll see what happens Friday. You know, they're missing guys. I mean, if he picks up. He also improved his tight end position because he was really sitting with backups before when we graded him, Corey. And now I think Jatavian Sanders is really frisky. I think he can be very good with the Bryce Young ascending, and especially again, man, like Adam Thielen's security blanket is gone. I know they got other options, man, but like I think he can get a lot of that action, and then he's got his backup. So it's like, cool, now you got a legit tight end spot, and his defense was very good, man. It was good before. It's Chris Jones, Cameron Jordan, Mozzie Smith. Yes, awesome. He got Josh Sweat, so now he doesn't have bad depth. He actually has excellent defensive ends now. I think he might have traded Walker in that trade and gotten Sweat back, but I think Sweat's gonna have a great year this year. And then it's like Stinky Pete is gonna be starting, and Dorian Williams and Tuoto starts, and Speed does too. It's like, all right, that's still got Bentley. Maybe can find a team. That's a good linebacking
Ford
core.
made the team.
Yeah, man. And then it's like even his corners are great, and then like when his safeties, he's a little shallow, but two good starters and then shallow. You know, like Hamlin, we'll see. He's got a threat to get a reduced role. And he's got, some spots to either activate or pick up some more guys. I just thought he got a roster I felt that could compete much more this year, week in, week out, than he had before. So I had to get him all the way up there, man. And congratulations, Taladega Charlie, man, coming in last minute,
Charlie,
diving into it and doing great so far. Keep reaching out and feeling out, what you need to feel out to be comfortable here, and we're here for you. Well done.
Well, he's the first rookie in history ever to join the league within 2 weeks, make a trade with Warren, and not have it be vetoed. So I think that's a win right away.
I mean,
so great.
I don't
great
think
job
that's
on
factual,
that.
but
well, I don't know.
Man,
we'd have to check the tapes.
I would say if you take Warren out of that would have been probably factual. You can't say it was always a win.
Well,
there's always a controversial trade with a rookie right out the gate.
Okay, let's just call it anybody in the league the first 2 weeks with important players being involved.
I will back that statement. Warren had a couple, but so is Penn. Some of the guys who stay active and trade a lot. We're not digging on anybody.
Well, he's obviously very capable. So the training wheels are off the Talladega Knights or Talladega Charlie, and he's ready to rock and roll.
Yeah,
so good on you, buddy. Welcome to the league.
Yeah, and I had some back and forth with him. He's in the Contract Killers too, and it's always nice to have a couple back and forths, agree to disagree, and then it's like, okay, cool.
He took over the CK team too. I didn't realize that. He sent me a doozy of an offer for Richard Smith.
I'm pretty sure.
I had to. We'd have to get confirmation on that. Yeah, I don't think that's the same person.
If it's not, then I digress. Yeah. I thought both were doing well, so maybe two people who got thrown into the fire are doing well. That could be as well. All right,
got it.
Number 11. Last two, number 11, another one that popped up. This is Missouri Milkman, who was number 13. I got him up to number 11 into the top 12. And then Dally City French Bulldogs is down to 12 from 9. And he just, had some unlucky things go his way. But the two teams that went out of my top 12 that they were there before is Prestige Worldwide. We don't have to go totally into his roster, but he has not had really much go for it since we reviewed him. Kind of like a lot of IR, just guys not winning, the surprise cuts, that's all hitting him. And Casey Me Machine, I felt a little bit similarly. Some of the assumptions we might have made in that roster moving to this season didn't come to fruition. So sorry to Casey and Prestige for dropping out of the top 12 on my book, but gives room for Missouri, and the French Bulldogs come down a little.
Yeah, I had them at 13 and 14th respectively, so we're really not too far off overall.
Let's start with Missouri, because
I'll just say that I'm rooting for Missouri Milkman this year. He's been such a positive over the last few years, positive person in the league. I like his interactions, and I think he's a solid GM. So
we
definitely
love
rooting for him.
everybody, but I think what Corey's trying to say is, Missouri's proactive in the chat and in the message boards. I think it's some people's
Inputting on
forte and
things.
some others not forte to chime in about rule changes or types of
Yes.
things that we need input on.
We
And I
need
agree with you.
input.
Missouri's in there, and I just like off of that to
Packers is in there.
or not. Man, always chime in. It helps us formulate to make this league better. Especially even not to beat a dead horse, but this IR situation that we are going to have to get to vote by next year for all these leagues. Just, I proactively, I'm sure you saw, put a post just like, man, go set your lineups for the future. Just don't get stuck. Because there's nothing worse, and we've seen it, where somebody gets stuck with a bad cut on and you're in an IR position, you can't make a start, and now all of a sudden you're trading a third-round pick to get rid of $20 a cap. And it's dude, that's not a position you want to be in. If you got to take a week to be hey, at least I got a lineup in. If it's critical, make the trade, do what you got to do. But I think maybe some people are just going to be more cautious.
Your cap, though. Just don't go over your cap.
Yeah, it's easier said than done, dude. Some guys are blown Achilles on a 3-year contract. It's they're not cutting them, and then they do.
No,
this
I
new
get it.
Injury
But at
settlement
this point,
stuff has never been done before. It's never been done before.
I get it. I completely get it. And previously, if the guy was going to be out all season, you could bank on that $50 out of the 100 coming back to your squad and not have to worry about it. But I'm just saying, for this year, until there's a rule change or something that takes care of it, just don't go over your cap from this point forward. You just can't do it in those situations because you're going to get caught.
If you are in that situation now,
or
do it, just make sure you're taking precautions. And the precaution is sit your lineups and be prepared that you'll never get to change them.
Yeah, or you're going to get held over the coals by someone to get out of the situation, and it's not going to be a friendly deal. And there might be more friendly people than others,
but
want
to avoid that.
Yeah. So go ahead. Let's fire these two off real quick.
Yep. So Milkman, I just think that when we looked at where it was before, he's got Alec Ayomanor, who just got a starting job. He could be number 2, man. Tyler Lockett isn't something when we're super excited about, and he's looked great. And I was high on him. I didn't get him in a lot of spots, but I really liked him. And I think he's going to be a great receiver. He does have Tyler Lockett there as well, so could be a nice one too. Adam Thielen's still going to be fine in Minnesota, if not maybe even better. It's weird to say, but he might be less crowded. He might be more guaranteed a third spot there. Matthew Golden, arrow is going up. Tyler Warren looks like it's going up.
Well, they don't have anybody healthy in Green Bay other than him and Dobbs.
Exactly. So, this roster is just looking very. The speculation isn't there anymore. Golden's a great player. I think I think he's number 1, and Alan Moore is going to be number 2, 3 at worst. And this.
I think originally,
in general,
not to cut you off, but just to go back to the running back room, I think there was a little bit of skepticism over Tyrone Tracy and Scatterboot coming in there, and I think just early that's been resolved.
Yep.
Tracy's the guy, at least until,
Yep.
Scadaboo's completely healthy. So that's a positive. And then Kenneth Walker's situation is also skeptical just because of his, injuries and
And he's
just
on track to play week 1 too.
and he's
So I
playing
agree
week
with
one.
that.
So
Yeah.
those are worrisome areas, and I think the wide receiving room early was a little bit worrisome, but it's improved. And then he's got the two tight ends that I think. I mean, Hunter Henry's possible he could finish in the top 15, and then Warren, like by all accounts, is a stud. So I think he's got some flexibility now that maybe he didn't quite have earlier on when we were looking at this, at least on the
Yeah,
offensive
and,
side of the
and
ball.
it goes on to the defense too, Corey. I mean, like he has Mike Green, who I liked, but Mike Green really looks like he could be. I mean, like in the run for Defensive Player of the Year, good. He's been dominating. He's starting. They love him there. So at the end, it's like
Hmm.
okay, like a Ricky that could get a like 150 points all of a sudden. That room looks a lot better. And then Sean motherfucking Dolek. Let me just give you a big round of applause for the Sean Dolek poll. Undrafted free agent with the 502 linebacker. And that boy, I'm calling right now, will be starting by week 4. I mean, he's looked awesome. Vote of confidence. I saw something they said yesterday where they said, we don't care who gets hurt at the linebacking position. We feel, or what the situation is, Sean Dolek will be played with 100% confidence by us. He's that guy. And it's like, oh. And they cut Paul, right, who they drafted.
Right.
So there's just like, it's a long-winded way to say, and Darius Masal's role is increasing from what I've seen. So it's like, dude, like Dennis Servassier secured the number 2 role. So it's like, man, it's a really good linebacker room. And last time we reviewed it, it was like, okay, Sherwood's going to be great. Quay Walker should be good. I like these guys, but let's see. And now it's like, yep, I think these guys are going to be really good. So those are the couple things that like got him up there, man. I'm like, this is getting into a roster that is going to shape up to be a roster you are going to not want to play. It's just going to be able to get a lot of points on defense. Good players on offense, especially if Golden ends up being super explosive. Like, yeah, it's going to be a tough team.
Like it. Great review. All
Thanks,
right.
man.
And last but not least, the Daly City French Bulldogs.
Yeah, I think it was funny because I didn't know where everyone was going to get popped out that had things not go well for his roster, but I had to give him 12 because I still believe in some of the guys in his roster, and they did get better news recently. Najee Harris specifically, right? Like Najee Harris at one point we thought was probably never going to see again, and now he might start. Sounds like it was superficial, and all of a sudden he looks great, and Harbaugh's like, yeah, he's going to get used. There's no word that he's starting, but I think if you are an Armari and Hampton owner, once upon a time you thought he was probably going to get like 90% of the work. Now with Najee Harris clearly going to be in the mix, it's probably closer to like 5 to 65. He's not going to run away with a bell cow, I don't think. And the Jalen Wright news not good, but it's also wait and see. I mean, he's not losing his job. He's just been hurt. But I thought he had, I think ETN trending up from last time. Everyone's like, oh, ETN's out, Batoon, and everyone now it's like he's the starter.
Yeah, I
ETN,
think
Travis ETN might be the most volatile opinion I've seen on the internet of like whether or not he's going to be
yeah.
a league winner or whether or not he's going to be getting 0 points by week 3. It's very weird.
I think his contract's appropriate for where he should be valued.
Yeah.
Kamani Vidal going down to the taxi squad's not great. Jalen Wright's not great. Devin Singletary, we kind of were just like, eh. But Darrow Ogunbowale is probably the passing downs running back
Yeah.
now, so that's
True
off and
story.
below there for sure.
Yeah,
At
Addison,
least
he's losing for 3 games, but he'll get that back, right?
Javon Baker not making the team as a
That's a
127
tough one,
draft
yeah.
pick a year ago is not great. But other than that, I think
It's
Drew
volatile,
Sanders was
man.
already
Like, he's got
injured.
a lot of good news and a lot of bad news with a lot of this roster. I think if we would have done this last week, even with Harris, we might have knocked him down. But I just think, he lost Sanders, but it looks like Trevor Wallace secured a job. Like, I don't know. Like, everywhere I look, I'm like, oh, something bad here. Oh, no, but that guy's doing well. And, he's a fringe guy on the 12th spot, and I think that below him, there's guys I moved down, and then I think from that 18 spot up, 18 to 12 to 10, I mean, there's going to be a lot of fight for these playoff spots. It's going to be a win here, it's going to be a win there, it's going to be an injury here, injury there. I actually feel like there's a lot of people in play for the playoffs. I feel like the top is the top. I don't include myself in that top, to be fair. Even though I'm 8, I don't include myself in the top. I just think at this point I'm just going to put the top 3 as, like, I would need somebody to slowly explain to me how they aren't in the playoffs,
Right.
And then I'm pretty confident, 4 through 7, that includes you, that you guys are a leg up to get in the playoffs and going to have to be pretty unlucky. I like where I am, but I think where I am and below, I think we're all like matchup based, need to get wins, need to have points scored. Those tiebreakers are going to matter, like, a lot. So good luck to
Yeah.
everyone on this battle, and anyone below that I didn't. I only went from 18 up to kind of review. If somebody below on my rankings team got significantly better and thinks I snubbed them, please let me know. But
So I
it was
had
a fun.
Vito number 9. I had Vito number 9 overall. But I mean, there's guys like
I
you said. I
had
think
Vito
anywhere.
12. Sorry, Corey. Vito's a good one. Let's just do. We don't have to go over him real quick, but let's just discuss. Like, I had Vito 12. And then I had to, like, kind of bump him down. Like I said, I just like the other ones better, per
Well,
se.
the
But,
Tajay
like,
Spears probably injury hurts a little bit.
well, no, I mean, actually, for me, I think some of Vito's stuff got better. I had him 16. I put him at 14, but I had him at 12, and then I went, like, 13, 14. So, like, I don't know. To me, that was a really tricky one. I thought it was very interesting that, like, a lot of these, and that's why I say everyone's in play, because to me, Hard Knocks got better, Vito got better, but they're not my top 12. Acme Packers I had as a neutral, so they're still in play as well. I don't know, man. Like, I think there's a lot of good teams in this middle niche area, and that doesn't even some of these later guys could have a few things go their way, and they're right there as well.
Yeah. I mean, there's on my rankings, like 4.5 to 3.5 are the guys that are kind of like on the fringe of making the playoffs, and just a couple things one way or the other, and injury luck or bad luck could move guys into different spots, or just guys ascending and performing, or guys that get replaced by a younger guy and no longer playing. So I mean, it's so many variabilities on how this can go down. And you know what? A couple of just big performances in the right week against a team that you don't expect to beat, and you get a win when you
Yep.
typically on paper would look
It
like
can
a
make
loss. Like
everything.
that can
It can
change.
make
That
everything.
can change dynamics. So the schedule and who you're facing every week when you're
Yep.
on buys, and
We haven't
facing other
taken any
people
of that
that
into
have way more buys,
consideration.
it gets crazy. So a lot of work to be done, a lot of things that could go right or wrong for a lot of teams, and there's just a few teams that have a more solid opportunity to be in the Super Pot playoffs this year.
But good
So
luck to everyone,
it's going
man.
to be a fun one.
Football's finally here, man. Tomorrow night, we're going to be sitting there. We'll be like, God damn, I'm looking at points being scored on my fantasy roster. We did it. Congratulations to everyone in BC. All 32 of us are legends for getting through this league. And Corey, you are a legend as well for this podcast process of us getting all these reviews of these rosters done. And I don't think we did it in an hour and a half, but we probably definitely did this under 2 hours.
Yeah, no, it's great. I would like to just kind of add, like, 32 owners. Again, not to repeat this, but it just feels the league feels different, and it's just so many different interactions with other people and the new owners that we have brought in. I think the experience is getting better. I think how we're handling some, decisions that need to be in the league. There's just less negative noise, and it just seems like more and more people are getting more comfortable speaking about things, interacting in chat about various things. So it's really fun to watch us progress in the. Sure, it'll get a little bit heated as the season starts and things happen, as it always does. But it's just been nice getting to know everybody, and please. Continue to chime in when you want to. I know there's people that kind of want to be in mom's basement still, and with their avatars, and that's fine too. But it's a great group of dudes, and pretty awesome league to be a part of. So
I'd like to say
all
one
good
more
shit.
thing, Corey. That our commissioner Vito made posts in all the Godfather leagues, giving a very nice shout out to Corey and I and the work that we do to do this podcast. We will get him on. He's a great dude. It's always great to have him on. And I just want to say thank you for the good words. I thought about this today. These things are usually tough to get motivated to do when we know our audience is you guys. It's just like it's a small niche audience. We're talking about this stuff. Corey and I get up for it because we like to cut some time out and talk football, and but we appreciate you all and the feedback, and happy.
Did you want to? Did you want to discuss any camp news or anything, or do you want to wrap it up with just the review?
Okay, I'm going to fire off some stuff real quick. We don't have to go super into it because there's so much camp news, but
let's just talk a little football and see where it takes us for the next 30 minutes, and then we'll call it at that.
So I mentioned this before. Camp news that is crazy that I could have never saw coming is the safeties that are now in New England. Pretty wild. Jack Sanborn is going to get to be the guy he never got to be for the Bears. I'm sorry to say, Corey, but I think he's going to be. He's got the green dot. I think he's going to be amazing. Talked about those Atlanta safeties, those two rookies that are playing. I tried to go through and see how many rookies ended up winning starting jobs. It's not as many as you think. I owe apologies for Deontay Thornton. He won a starting job, and I was a Jeff Beck guy. R.I.P. my take. Yeah. Well, Jack, yeah. What did you like, Corey? What were your surprises?
Well, just to talk about Jack Sanborn, in case everybody doesn't remember, I had him on a roster and missed the extension deadline. I had him for $8, I think, and missed the extension deadline by a couple days. So everybody that thinks that things don't go my way every time in rulings, that's not exactly factual. So technically, he would still be on my roster had the commish sided with me, which he
blew it,
have,
Corey.
and I was fine. Yeah,
Lieutenant Sanborn is coming to reap.
I think for me, it's like just seeing what's happening in the NFL with the running back position and how volatile that is. It seems like the longer and longer someone's in the league that's like a mid to, not a top 5 elite guy, their jobs are in jeopardy going into the 4th or 5th year. Like it's kind of shocking to see how many rookies and new guys are coming into a situation and expected to perform. And it's just extremely scary if you don't have those blend backs that I've talked about before. Like if you have a first and second down pounder, like I don't know what the longevity is for running backs in the league anymore. And it's like with the depth that we had in this class, there's several sixth, seventh rounders that have secured spots, and then there's guys that don't. It's just it's very interesting for me to watch that. And I think it's going to be a pivotal part about team success is how can they field other than Warren, who has 5 legit starters on his team, or 6 for the foreseeable future. Like, how can you manage that versus other positions of need? Like, what are the values? Do you have to, move on from running back completely and just have 1 and 3 hopefuls, like, in order to stack other positions? So that's just really interesting to watch. I think the depth charts early on with some of the rookie running backs, it's like, okay, they're still listed third, but we know Travion Henderson's not the third running back in New England, right? So it's
Name every one of them that's too low. Because, like, remember, I think I sent this to you, like, or sent it to somebody joking, but it was like the preseason depth chart. The Broncos decided to throw out their first official depth chart, and it was like R.J. Harvey was 4th. And everyone's like, oh.
Right. It's just hogwash.
Yeah. It's like, well, you know what? Like, I know again, I probably will owe a big apology, but for now I just owe an apology about RJ Harvey because
I don't think so. I don't think
he's behind Dobbins.
He's
behind Dobbins, I think. I think they need him to be a better blocker before he gets a bulk load. But we'll see, man. Like, Sean Payton likes him. They talk highly of him. And he had a good camp. So we'll see. Ollie Gordon, way up. I thought he was trash ass.
But it's funny.
Eat that.
Ollie Gordon.
But to your point, we didn't even talk about Bill. I mean, Bill went from my sneakiest guy that I couldn't get off of anyone, who they're probably all fucking Washington fans. But I got him in like 100 best balls in the 16th or 17th round, and now he's getting taken in the 6th. And now he came out as the 4th running back. But he came back as a 4th running back. So everyone's like,
right, yeah. No, I mean, that's all hogwash. I would be trading. I would be reaping the rewards of that value all day long, though. Like, I wouldn't be holding on him thinking he's
in a best ball you don't get to
long-term
trade,
answer. No.
And I've even hit up to see if people want to cash out, man. They still don't. Nobody who has. If you got Bill, if you're listening to this pod and you have Bill, come trade rape me. I'm here for it. Come take me to the cleaners. I want Mr. Bill. Mr. Bill, Mr. Bill.
Yeah, I'd be conservative on that one, but I mean, it just goes to my overall theory. He's expendable. He's 3 years and he's out. Is my guess, but who knows? The other thing, I didn't get enough, not in this league, but I drafted Caleb Johnson over Travion Henderson in several leagues, and I probably wish I would have split those shares a little bit at this point. I'm not down on Caleb.
Jalen Warren getting that extension.
That honestly doesn't scare me because I still see him as a complimentary 1-2 back to him, and like I just getting $6 million a year. Okay, that's a solid.
Corey,
a solid
doesn't it just matter what he's doing in week 13, 14, 15, 16?
Well, here's the point. Like, he had a couple games. He had the first game in preseason where everybody destroyed him because he dropped a bad pass and he didn't look decisive. But then week 3, R.J. Harvey had 3 rushes for -1 yards, and nobody's blowing his spot.
Yeah, but Gentry's first game, I think, was -1 yards too.
Right. So, like, where is the? we don't know
Nowhere.
What vanilla runs they're running. We don't know who he's running with on the offense.
I believe preseason.
It's just silly.
The only thing that preseason tells me is when to, like, panic on a guy. When I say that, I mean, are you a linebacker I thought was going to start, and are you playing in the 4th quarter? Are you a safety like Kyle Duggar playing the entire second half of the last? It's like, whoa, like that is a red flag.
I'd be far more concerned if they were running backs on bad offenses or bad organizations having the same issues. We're talking about the fucking Pittsburgh Steelers that churns out 250 attempts a year out of their starting running backs when they invest that much capital. We're talking about the Denver Broncos under Sean Payton that knows exactly how he wants to use it.
How many weeks before Aaron Rodgers is audibled out of like 12 straight runs does Mike Tomlin start like choking him out on the sideline?
It's going to be very interesting to watch that drive.
Oh man.
I
Maybe they'll
mean,
just go
him
do
just
ayahuasca together when they're both fired.
Mike Tomlinson is probably the least likely coach in the entire NFL that I think would do ayahuasca. So that's well, maybe I think at this point Bill Belichick would have a better chance of doing ayahuasca than Mike Tomlin
Might
with
need
Aaron
it after
Rodgers.
that ass beating he took.
Well, with his sweet ass girlfriend on the sidelines during warm ups and stuff, doing God knows what. It's like, what is going on with that dude? It's like
Who
he wouldn't
cares?
even let
He's
Alex
old and he's got a
Guerrero. He
fucking
wouldn't even let
smoker
Alex
side
Guerrero.
piece. Let him.
No, let him live, but I'm like, he wouldn't even let Alex Guerrero in the building when he had the best quarterback of all time, and now he's got his 22-year-old girlfriend on the sidelines of his college games. It's just, it's fascinating to watch. Um,
Sorry for the
Other
cursing, but
things,
pussy will make you change things quick.
yeah. Well, what a legend, I guess, in so many ways. I don't know, man. I'm just excited for football to start. I wish I wasn't going to Yosemite this weekend. It's like hurting my soul, and I'm already trying to think about how I can like wire a headphone into my ear while I'm, have my cell phone
Oh,
discreetly
I
in
just
into
realized
my
something,
bag.
Corey. I think on tape on one of our pods, I might have said that if Devin White won the starting job, that I was gonna like do something like bad. Might have to go check that out because I think he has the green dot, and I clearly have no idea what the Raiders are doing. But I think I might have
Yeah.
said like if he starts, I was gonna insert
Well,
whatever I
that's
did.
trending towards a very cool, positive. I would say shave your head, like I said for Darren Waller, but mine's probably trending in the right direction. Um, yeah, I mean it's going to be exciting, dude. Like I think that the NFL is just an extremely competitive. The even watching the Cleveland Browns, I think the Cleveland Browns could be good with Joe Flacco the first 4 or 5 games of the season. I think there's going to be some
Flacco to
surprising
Njoku
teams.
17 times week one.
Or Jared Judy, like with that announcement, it's like, I mean, I'm interested to see what happens with the Giants and their quarterback situation and how quickly they move on to Dart or what Russell can do with Neighbor. I mean, there's so
I
many
think I think
storylines.
only the Saints I'm not interested in any of it. Like I might have some
Yeah, I
fantasy
mean,
stuff I might have to look at, but I think for the Saints, the only pure team that I have like no desire to watch a single down of football.
yeah, I mean, what's sick about our league is I have Mason Tipton, and I'm just hoping to God that he replaces
Yeah, you're
Brandon
gonna be
Cooks. So that it's
grinding.
just,
You're gonna be
I'm
grinding.
watching. I'm going to be sending emails to the
You're
coaching
already
staff
looking
like
at
Mason
preseason
Tipton.
splits on which quarterback targeted him more in that like
Well,
third
yeah, I
string
mean, it's
offense.
that's where you get kind of, and I think you do a lot better job. Like you understand the defensive side of the ball, obviously a ton more, and you can evaluate, the teams and their players, because you don't just look at your team or win a trade offer. Like a lot of the times, like some of these guys, I don't even know their names or where they're at. I know my guys, and so when I get offers and I want to make offers, then I start doing research of like who I want to go get or blah blah blah. But so I was just saying, like, for my growth, like I certainly need to better understand the defensive side of the ball. But like you can't watch everything, and it's like when you're in four
No.
or five of these leagues, even though they're not the size of BC, you have like a certain pool of players that you're pretty familiar with because you have different guys on every team. But the moving parts on the defensive side of the ball is just kind of where I need to improve.
Yeah.
And I think probably just being self aware, like that's it's where I struggled probably somewhat this offseason is like you get a little complacent with your roster, like because there's not so many moves to make because you feel like you're kind of set at positions. But there's a lot of people that with draft capital or even the last, like I didn't have any money. Like I have $3, so it's like you're just
Yeah.
stuck with what you have, and
Yep.
you're just hoping for the best. So there's so many moves and things that teams can do the rest of the season, and the value of players and injuries that can happen, and buying into those injuries when they're still young. And it's just like I think that's what makes this league so much fun is just like you can always improve, not to the level of Warren with the paper get clip to a Lamborghini because he's special, but
God
you
damn
can
it.
make subtle improvements, and get yourself in the hunt pretty quickly if you're putting the time in. Other than that, I'm just excited to watch football. I mean,
Yeah, me
it couldn't
too.
have asked for a better situation to be able to at least come home and watch the Bears either shit the bed or beat the Vikings on Monday. Um, it's exciting times.
Or we both played very well. One of us wins, one of us loses, and we're both like, hey, it feels like we're both pretty good. That's a
I think that's
possibility
all.
too, man.
I'm completely happy with just a really good game where we both look really, really good and not sloppy, and it's just like one
Yeah.
or two plays makes the difference. And
Three turnovers
um, you know,
apiece, on like real great like scheme plays, like nothing like, bad on anyone's fault, no ducks. Just like good gridiron football. And I think like I honestly I'm gonna go back to it, man. I think that is what I think we're gonna see. I think we're going to
I'm looking
see
for attitude too. I'm looking
we
for
might
attitude.
see the
Just like,
game of the week. Although that Baltimore Buffalo Sunday night game is going to be
oh God,
awesome.
the
It's going
NFL's
to be
in
hard to
trouble with
top
putting
that.
some of these games.
But dude, I think, man, I think division game Monday night. I don't think either coach is going to hold their quarterback back, and I think they're going to know they need to throw this kitchen sink on both sides of the ball.
Yeah,
And I think it's going to be great
it's
football.
a divisional game. I mean, it's a divisional game, and I think
I
I
think it's
think
going to
it's
be
going to be a
great
good one.
football. And
Yeah, man.
my hot take, Corey.
Yeah.
You ready for this hot take? Smoking hot. McCarthy and Caleb throw for 300 yards.
Oof. Yeah. If Caleb throws for 300 yards, I'm going to be happy regardless, whether we win or lose. Like if he can get off 25 to 27 passes and throw for 300
It's much
yards
more
without getting
likely he does
destroyed,
than McCarthy. But that being said, I
you'll know
just
after the
know,
first two drives. We'll know
man.
right away after the first couple drives.
I don't think Ben Johnson is gonna not score. I think there'll be some crazy stuff our defense can do, but I think Ben Johnson is going to be able to score. And like we're gonna have like unless we have some insane ball control strategy of time of possession, like it's gonna have to air out.
Yeah, it'll be fun. Can we just agree that we'll keep it respectful regardless? We always do a pretty good job when we're watching. We're not fan
Dude,
bases that are
I'm like probably the only
that call
Vikings
was
fan.
awful. That was we
I'm like
no,
the
but
only
we don't
Vikings
ever
fan
get
that
into
still thinks Caleb can be good.
yeah. No, I appreciate that. I think we've always done a good job of not being those guys that are like, oh, the ref blew that
Man,
call
even
and
with
that
the
was something that's an
Packers, like
obvious
all I
pass
want to do is
interference.
say how fucking stupid and lame and horrible the Packers are going to be, but like I'm just lying to myself. Fucking
I mean,
Micah
I'm
Parsons.
excited to watch.
What the
What
fuck?
does Dallas look like? I mean, like we have Dallas
Terrible.
week 4. I'm excited to well, I'm excited to see what they look like tomorrow because it's like, are they going to air the shit out of the ball? Like, what happens if Dallas goes into Philadelphia and
They're the
beats Philadelphia tomorrow?
illegitimate stepchild of the Cincinnati Bengals.
Yeah. Can you imagine what Jerry Jones would do if they go into Philadelphia? Like that dude could walk the streets of Dallas like
He's
shirtless with
gonna
4
do it
girls on his
anyways.
arms for the rest of
He's
his
gonna do it
life.
anyways.
Like,
Jerry
I
Jones has never
told
been
you
wrong in
so.
his life. Jerry Jones has never been
Bro.
wrong in his life.
Didn't they just sign
Ask him.
Deron Bland for like 92 million after they let
Way
I mean
better
like
spent than Micah Parsons. Just way better spent.
well,
I like
half the
Bland. I don't
price.
want to talk shit, but Jesus.
That's just interesting. It's interesting. Well, man, let's just cut this under 2 hours. Next week we
Yeah.
can come back with some different takes on what the highs and lows of week 1, and we'll have some more segments now. We've gotten through the team reviews and all that, and we'll find some segments each week that we've known that you guys have asked for, and some risers and fallers and stock adjustments, and we got some creative ideas for what this looks like moving forward. So and again, we want to make sure that people We record every Wednesday normally without any tech issues from 8:30 till 10:30-ish PST. So if you guys want to be on the show, the other option that we do have is we can send out the link and people, we haven't tried this yet, but we have the capability of sending a link out and having people interact in chat. So I think that'd be fun for 30 minutes to have
Yeah, we
people
haven't
kind of
tried that yet.
spitting out some questions that we just answer on the spot, which I think would be pretty cool. I think some trade reviews would be kind of, in-season trade reviews would be pretty interesting to talk about. Any improvements for the league now that new owners are getting more acclimated. And then obviously we have reviews of each games and players and all that stuff. So should be exciting times. We're committed to it. Please keep us in your thoughts when you're listening. A little shout out here and there, good or bad, is always great. And Warren, I'm coming for you on Sunday, buddy. Just don't smash
Game
me
of the
too
week.
hard.
Bad Boys
I'll
of the
lose. I'll
South.
lose with honor. I'll lose with honor. All right, my man. Have a great rest of your week, and football starts tomorrow.
You too. Go football. It's back.
Peace.